Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Trevor Golliger Drums. Thanks for joining me again today, or if it's your first time, welcome. And today I thought we'll look at some hi-hat stands. Hi-hat stands are not all built equal. The cheaper ones tend to be flimsy and not really stable, and the really super expensive ones obviously tend to work better. And why would you want a more expensive stand, one that actually is stronger? Well, the more stable your hi-hat stand is, the better your hi-hat sound. That also applies to just cymbal stands too. If they're solid and very stable, it does have an effect on your actual sound of your cymbal. Now, there are 3 or 4 basic sort of hi-hat mechanisms around. You've got this one here that I've got in front of me. This is a chain drive, and it comes straight down with a plunger as opposed to a strap. Some of them actually have straps, not chains. I would say if you're going to buy yourself a new hi-hat stand, I wouldn't go anything less than a chain drive one. This particular one that I've got my foot on here is a Tama. It's an Iron Cobra 600 series. Most hi-hat stands have a little area on the bottom of the stand that's to adjust the tension of the actual pedal itself, just like a bass drum pedal. They have tension adjustments, and I'll show you a couple of other stands in a minute. They also have adjustments but work a little bit different. So a good hi-hat stand obviously is one that's got good adjustments on the height, good tension adjustments. Also, if you can get one that actually has adjustment for the pedal to go side to side, sometimes that's a really good idea. Especially if you're a double bass drum pedal player, sometimes you can move it on an angle that gets it out of the way of your second pedal. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, good heavy construction, like I did the other day with the drum throne little video. I recommend it's got really good solid rubber feet, double braced. That's always a really, really good thing to have. And you know, as I said, this Tama Iron Cobra 600, it's probably the cheapest hi-hat stand I own. It's at a quality level that's very good for professional use, but not as expensive as some. Like some of the pedals I got over here on the right, or stands, which I'll get to in a minute, they are much more expensive than this one. But this is a good little pedal, a good little hi-hat stand. It works really well. So that's a good pedal, that's a good stand. Now I'll just move this to the side. I'll bring you in another one here. This is a Pearl. I forget the actual model number, but it's one of the more upper level pedals, stands I should say. Just like that one, it has an adjustment here for the tension of your actual pedal itself. And what's really cool about this one, the mechanism here where the actual foot pedal goes onto, it's a hydraulic. Just let me put this back in here. Okay, it's it's got like a hydraulic plunger on it, which is really has a really smooth action. And as with the others, it's, you know, double braced. This one is really cool too. You might be able to see this. It's got these little spikes here I can actually undo with a drum key, turn them over, so I can actually have spikes. So if I'm on a slippery surface like wood, I could literally bang these spikes down into the wood and it would stop the actual pedal from slipping forward. And that's really important. That's one of the reasons why you really should have good rubbers on your hi-hat stand, because if you're a person that sort of kicks your hi-hat stand as opposed to leaving the heel on the ground and just going up and down, you want that really good grip so your pedal doesn't move around. And as I said earlier too, a hi-hat stand that's really stable, and the rubbers play a part in that, it actually makes your cymbal sound a lot better. So this is a really good pedal, hi-hat stand I should say. Also, all stands have these little adjustments. Now, some people might go, well, what's that for? Well, what that actually does, it actually changes the angle. Let me get this. It changes the angle of your bottom cymbal. So if I move the adjustment on this one, actually I'll just bring this one up. As you can see, as I loosen this off, this bottom cymbal is starting to become flatter. If I screw it up a bit, it starts to go upwards on an angle. And that's really important, to have that ability to adjust that cymbal. And the reason why you'd want more of an angle is when you put your foot down on the pedal and that bottom cymbal is on an angle, it actually helps to move the air out from between the two cymbals quicker. And as a result, you get more crispness out of your cymbal. So if they were actually both flat, it comes down, well, I'm not adjusting, but if it's flat, you wouldn't get as crisp a sounding cymbal. So it's important to have that adjustment. Thankfully, you'll find most hi-hat stand makers, they all put that on there because it's an essential part of that, that stand. We got one here too. This is a really basic form. If I take the metal washer off, it's basically, it's a screw with a little nut. It comes up underneath the metal and pushes it up to create that angle. And it's that simple. This stand is really, I love this one too. It's got, unlike most hi-hat stands that either move straight up and down like so, this one has a really interesting mechanism. When I push down on it, it actually folds the chain over as opposed to pulling down. The mechanism is in this rolling action there, if you can see that. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's a really interesting, I've never seen a pedal with this sort of mechanism before. But I wish they all had it, because that's probably the smoothest moving hi-hat stand I've ever played, and it's because of that action. This hi-hat stand is made by a drum company called Canopus. It's one of their lightest versions. All these double bracing is all aluminium, so it's a pretty light stand compared to hi-hat stands. Compared to this one, it's half its weight. So things to remember, as I said, like same with the drum thrones. You want double bracing, you want really strong rubbers, you want something that's got a good adjustment on the pedal tension, because you want to be able to, you know, some people like that tension to be really, really soft. Some people like to have a bit of tension on it so they can really feel they're pushing down on what they're doing, you know. So regardless of the stand you buy, as I've said before, even when it comes to drum thrones, buy the best stands you can afford. That applies to everything, your drum kit, your cymbals, all those things. Always buy the best quality equipment you can afford to buy. By doing that, you're always going to get something that will last. Like these, even this Tama Iron Cobra here, I've had that stand probably for 6 years. It works as good as the day I bought it. And the same with these. I've had this one probably 5 years. It's still working as good as the day I bought it. This Pearl here is a fairly new addition, but it's so solidly built, I'm sure it's going to last forever. So especially if you're doing a lot of gigging, a lot of lugging around, you want good quality hi-hat stands. And so it's really important. Another thing I'll say before we go to the adjustment of your hi-hat. You should never screw this down so tight that it's rigid. Like if I got that like that, I've got it really rigid. There's no give in it. There's a little bit because it's not quite as tight as I would normally put it down, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this right off, and you'll find on top of all your clutches or your bottom of your clutches, there's always an adjustment. And what you want is your hi-hats to be quite loose so they move around. So they can move around like so when you play them. Because if you're a player or if you're playing music that requires that real sloppy half-open hi-hats, you want to have that movement to give you that sound too. So if you have been tightening your clutch really fully tight onto the top cymbal, loosen it off a bit so you've got some play there. It's really, your cymbals sound better if you do that. And like I said, especially if you're playing rhythms with that real half-open hi-hat that's got that wash, that will be really cool. Anyway, that's just a quick little video today to show you a couple of different varieties of hi-hat stand. I'll just quickly recap on a few things, what to look out for when you're buying a hi-hat stand. Always get one that's double braced. Get one with big, strong, thick rubbers on the bottom of it as well. Ones with memory locks, they're always good. This memory lock here, this part here, I can just tighten that down, put it down onto my stand, and that's exactly where I want it. So make sure I got memory locks. All of these three have. Check out the mechanism. You know, the cheapest sort of hi-hat stand I would go for is one with a chain. Anything less, like the leather ones or the straps, yeah, some of them are okay, but these tend to last forever. It's chain. It's not going to wear out. And ones that actually have like hydraulic plungers in them, all these three do. They work really, really well, really good to have. Make sure that the actual foot pedal really suits your foot. I mean, if you've got a really, really wide foot and you've got a really, really narrow pedal, it's not going to feel that comfortable. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Make sure the actual pedal, where you put your foot down, is actually wide, or is at a sufficient width so your foot feels really comfortable on it. You will get some pedals too, as in this one. It's got a toe cap, little thing here. That's to stop your foot sliding forward on the pedal. I don't tend to have that problem, but if I'm wearing slippery shoes and if I'm not playing my hi-hat stand like I normally do, which I normally play with my heel off, and I use that to keep time, I would find that would be really handy to have, save my foot slipping forward. Also, how the footboard attaches to the hi-hat stand is an important thing too. This basic little wire, you just squeeze them together and put them in the holes. That's very old school. It's very basic, but it works really well. This pearl has the same sort of mechanism. This one doesn't. This one's fully attached, and it's got a platform underneath it, which actually, and it's got some Velcro on there too. So if I'm on carpet, it actually stops it moving around on me. And this just comes undone with some drum tuning keys here. Loosen them off. the whole platform collapses on you. So you can pack it up for when you go home. So they're all things you should keep in mind when you're in the market for a new hi-hat stand. If you've got something that's really flimsy and it sort of moves around when you're playing, you know, save yourself some money and go and buy something that's really strong and solid like these pedals. Once again, this is a Tama Iron Cobra 600 series. This Canopus is I think Canopus only make one hi-hat stand anyway, and I think that's it. And it's, if they make a couple, this is the one with the aluminium legs. I can't remember the model. And the same with this Pearl. I know it's an upper model. Easy way to remember this model, it's the one with the red dots on the footboard. It's the only model that has that. So a good hi-hat stand can cost you quite a few dollars, you know, $300, $400, $500, $600, depending on the brand. You know, if you're buying a hi-hat stand for $50, it's probably not going to last you that long, and it's probably going to be unstable. So, you know, the old story, you get what you pay for. Spend a bit of money, buy a good one, and it'll make your life a lot easier for when you're out there gigging. Anyway, on that note, I don't want to go too long with this video. It's just a little bit of a show and tell of a few hi-hat stands and what to look out for when you're buying. On that note, thanks for watching. Enjoy your life, enjoy your playing, be kind to others, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.